All right, I want to do something that I'm going to call the Nichols Jigs Breakdown Series, and this is going to be our first one. Everybody knows that Nichols is a name synonymous with quality. You know, everything they make is really good stuff. But I've had a lot of people ask me, you know, that there's so many different types of jigs. What's the deal with that? Well, that's why we're going to do this breakdown series. I'm going to take apart each jig and show you exactly why it's the best jig and what it is the best jig for. You can't have one jig that's just good for everything. To be the most efficient angler that you can be, you have to have a lot of different jigs, and this series is going to show you just how to do that. Today in our jig breakdown series, we're going to focus on swim jigs. Now, Nichols makes 3 different kinds of swim jigs. There's the sledgehammer swim jig, there's the saber swim jig, and there's the finesse or light wire series swim jig. And basically, all 3 of those jigs all incorporate the same head style. It's a swim jig head. It's a pointed head. That's what comes through junk the best. So the difference in these 3 jigs basically is the hook. The sledgehammer swim jig has a gaff in it. It is a giant hook. This is made for fishing in those hay fields on Lake Okeechobee or the super thick stuff, you know, at Ticonderoga and Lake Champlain or down in the Louisiana Delta. Just that nasty, viney, thick stuff where you're going to be dealing with big fish. You're going to be throwing 65-pound braid, you know, or 50-pound braid, whatever. It's a big hook. That's what the sledgehammer is. It's for big fish and big line fishing. You're not going to bend that hook out. The middle one is called the saber swim jig. Now, the saber has what I would just call a strong hook in it. It's not a real big, massive hook like the sledgehammer. It's not a small hook like the light wire series. It's kind of your middle of the road. It's one you can get away with doing, you know, a couple of different things, but it's probably the one you'll use the most often, just basically swimming through grass and stuff like that. Say when you're using, you know, 17-pound fluorocarbon, you know, or lighter braids, you know, 20 or 30-pound braid. The saber is the one you're going to want to go to. Now, when you start getting into more open water situations, when you're dropping down to 10 and 12 and 14-pound line, you know, more clear water and open water situations, the saber and the sledgehammer are not going to be good choices for that because the hook is too big. You're not going to have enough power with 10 or 12-pound line to jam a massive hook like that through the fish's mouth. So that's why we came out with the light wire finesse series swim jig. Same head, same weed guard. It's just a lot lighter wire hook, and you'll be able to throw it and get a good hook in a fish way out on a long cast with 10 or 12-pound test line. So that's the breakdown of all the Nichols swim jigs. That's why we have 3 different kinds of swim jigs. So all your bases are covered whenever you're going to be throwing a swim jig. Nichols has the right one for you. Stay tuned for our next installment of the Nichols Jigs Breakdown Series.